The Finding Purpose podcast is proudly brought to you by Relive the Moments, founded by visionary entrepreneur John Lim. We live in a world where it's easy to capture memories, but Relive the Moments makes it effortless to re-experience and share them. From NFC-enabled tap coasters and photo frames to interactive video cards, Relive the Moments turns everyday objects into unforgettable tap-to-experience keepsakes. Imagine gifting a wedding guest a coaster that instantly opens your highlight reel, or giving your event sponsors a custom frame that tells your story with just one tap. Whether you're celebrating a milestone, planning a wedding, honoring a legacy, or elevating a brand experience, Relive the Moments is the bridge between the past and present, between memory and connection. It's not just a product, it's an experience. Visit www.relivethemoments.com and use promo code PURPOSE for 25% off your first order. Let's bring your memories to life, one tap at a time.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Finding Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Adam Vora, and I'm so grateful to have you here. This podcast is all about exploring the journeys of incredible individuals, people who have faced adversity, found their purpose, and are now making an impact in their communities. But it's also about my journey. Over the years, I've faced my own obstacles, moments of doubt, and struggles with identity. Through it all, I found my purpose in giving back, creating a space where people can detach from the negative emotions and stigmas they may associate with their own stories, just like I did with mine. Here, we have real conversations about growth, resilience, and transformation. Whether you're searching for direction, striving for personal development, or simply looking for a place to feel seen and understood, this is for you. So if these conversations resonate with you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with us on social media. Now let's dive into today's episode.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Finding Purpose podcast. I'm Adam, and I'm truly grateful you're here. Whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts or watching on the official YouTube channel of the Finding Purpose podcast, thank you for being part of this community. Before we dive in, I want to invite you, if you're feeling stuck, ready for change, or craving deeper alignment, to explore my Core Shift program, a space designed to help you reconnect with purpose, build clarity, and create meaningful momentum in your life. If you're ready to do the inner work that leads to real transformation, you can learn more through the links in the show notes. And as always, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, leave a review, and share. It truly helps this community grow. Last week's episode with Elsie Rivera reminded us that consistency, discipline, and intentional movement are what build real strength, both individually and collectively. Today's guest, Jamie Lee Zeno, professionally known as Jay Lee, is a licensed esthetician, certified life and health coach, oncology certified skincare specialist, and beauty and wellness entrepreneur. She's the founder and CEO of Jay Lee's Beauty Lounge, a luxury med spa brand in Westchester County with a flagship location in Eastchester and an upcoming Hartsdale storefront opening this February. Jamie is also the creator of Beauty with Jay Lee, her organic skincare, hair care, body care, and makeup line used in all of her treatments and known for visible, transformative results. With over 22 advanced certifications, she's recognized for innovative protocols and elevated luxury experiences. Beyond entrepreneurship, Jamie serves as a sergeant in law enforcement and is currently progressing through promotional interviews for lieutenant, a testament to her discipline, resilience, and purpose-driven mindset. Recently honored with the Local Love 2025 Awards for Best Facial in Upper Westchester, she continues to expand her impact through mentorship and leadership. This conversation is about balance, intention, and what it truly looks like to lead with purpose across every area of life. And I'm super grateful to have you here.
Thank you.
Been on the calendar since November.
Since November.
You know, us calendar loyalists. But
That's right.
you know, when I came down to visit your Eastchester location, like we sat down, and granted, I was there as a representative of the magazine, but we ended up just having like a really long conversation about what you do, who you are, and your story. And I was really drawn to just all that you've accomplished. And also what really blew my mind is how the two different areas of your life are so different, but you embody them both pretty well.
Right.
But I'd love to jump into just a little bit of your early story, where you came from, where you grew up, and kind of go from there.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I almost said the Bronx. In Brooklyn, born and raised there in Crown Heights. It was not a very good neighborhood back then, but it was like where most of the minorities lived, right? And so I didn't get the fancy schools and things like that. I just had, people that inspired me to want to do better in life. So from there, we moved to Canarsie when I was about maybe like 13, 14 years old, which was a much better neighborhood. I went to high school out there, and then fast forward, now I've been a resident of Westchester for about 10 years. Due to, professional obligations, I guess you can say, I started the academy with the New York State Courts in 2016. And so coming right out, they put me in the Bronx. And I was like, oh, well, this commute kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So I did put in transfers to go to Brooklyn Criminal Court. Of course, they denied me. So my only choice was just to move up there, and I didn't want to be in the Bronx. So I moved to Yonkers, and that's where I kind of just started living my life from there. Professionally, I stood in the Bronx for a really long time. I just recently transferred to Westchester County work-wise, I want to say within the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Big change, big difference. You go from dealing with like gangs and shootouts and a whole bunch of stuff to like now it's just more so, homeless people who have mental health issues, things like that. So it's a big change for me, but a slower pace, and I can appreciate that. So that's where we're at now.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, one of the things you said early on is that there were people in your life who inspired you to want more.
Right.
I think mentorship is really important at any phase of our journey. Who are some of those people early on, and what type of role did they take on in your life?
So I would have to absolutely give the credit to my parents, right? You learn the sacrifices that they put before them, before themselves and their goals. And so it's like I watched my mom sacrifice for me. She had all these big dreams and goals and aspirations, and she couldn't do it because she had me. I don't want her to ever feel like, okay, like I didn't do anything with myself. I always knew like, okay, if you sacrificed your life and your dreams for me, then it's kind of my obligation to show you that your hard work is appreciated, and I'm going to do something with that. Same with my dad. My dad is a ex-Marine. So he actually became deaf in the military from like the explosions and like gunfire, things like that. So again, he had to be honorably discharged because of that. So he gained a disability that he was not born with. And his hard work and his ethic that I've watched just growing up, it was like, wow, I have to work hard. I have to build a life that I truly, truly align with, that I feel is just being me, 100% authentically me. And I just had to figure out what was that. I thought it was law enforcement. My family's in law enforcement. My uncle is an attorney. So I figured, okay, like maybe that's my calling. I knew I wanted to help people. So getting into that field would give me that. But something just wasn't igniting for me, and I couldn't figure it out. And that's around COVID was when I really, truly aligned myself with what I feel I should be doing and helping people in a different way through aesthetics.
Yeah, no, I mean, helping people is always usually, I think, an underlying factor when it comes to really living purposefully and also enjoying yourself in the process. And, oftentimes we talk about on this podcast where purpose is like a moving target, like during different, periods of your life. And I think there are a lot of people who, because their families are in a certain field, they feel obligated to also pursue that field. What were some things that you learned early on during your law enforcement career that have shaped you?
It gives you a different perspective and it sheds light on everybody that's going through something different. I feel like there's different ways to kind of see that there's different walks of life. But when you are put in a situation where everyone that's coming in is living a different life, they're going through something that you have no idea what it's about. You learn to be less judgmental. I feel like it's so easy for us as humans to just say, oh, well, look at this person, or why can't you just do this? But when you truly are like in the middle of what they're dealing with, you kind of understand and you're like, oh, wow, like you would never guess this person is dealing with this much stuff. You learn to just be a little bit more humble, a little bit more kind, and not judge anybody just off of what you see, but just give them a chance to kind of like show you who they really are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's so important, and I love that because this more often than not, we're crossing so many people's paths throughout the day, and someone is rude or someone misdirects their anger towards you, and you're quick to write them off as an asshole, or
Right.
you're cursing them under your breath. And really, it's like, hey, like I have no idea what this person is going through. And even, like they talk about like the waiters, right? Like, you get a moody waiter, like you don't know like what happened to how their morning went.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I actually had something that happened to me today.
Oh, wow.
And I was pulling up to the gym, and there was this spot, and it was like right where I like to park. And I was back in park, and so like I pull up, and this one just like boom, just parks in it. And for a second there, I like was like, I'm gonna curse this bitch out. You know what I mean? Like I was tight, and I was like, you know what? Like she's clearly in a rush, and I'm not gonna ruin her day by cursing her out before yoga. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna set her off like that. And to me, I was like that was a good deed because I could have just really went in on her. But instead I was just like, all right, whatever. And I parked a couple spaces down and called it a day. I did look for her when I was in the gym. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, let me see what this lady's doing. But I, like, and I think it's really important to make those conscious decisions throughout your day and not act on impulse based on how somebody else makes you feel. And I think that's really important in your career in law enforcement, but also as a business owner.
Yeah.
When you're managing employees, and those are all sorts of different personalities. Talk about that transition. So you said it was around COVID.
Right.
And, I think there was a lot of soul searching done for a lot of people through COVID.
Absolutely.
So when did you come to the realization that, yes, law enforcement has bestowed me some gifts, but it's not who I am?
So it was about, I was currently in the process of trying to help people who I felt were kind of lost during COVID. And it was more so like, oh, like I'm feeling depressed. I'm not loving myself. I can't go here to get this done. I can't do my hair. I can't do my nails. I feel crappy. So what I started to do was I had created a YouTube channel to basically like teach them how to do it at home. So I learned how to do like my own powder dip nails, and I showed the video step by step, and then I learned how to take it off, and then I recorded that. And so many people were like, oh my God, that helped me. Thank you so much. And I would do like a winter skincare routine. This is what you should be using and stuff like that. And then I said, wait a minute, I'm spending so much money on Sephora just to promote their stuff. Why not just invest that money into myself? So I went down a rabbit hole and I started looking for like labs and like all these types of things, where I could get started, how would I get started? And I kind of just took off from there. I found a lab in Florida that I started working with. And I was like, these are the ingredients that I want. This is what I want the product to do. How can we go about it? And so we went from there. Then I went into the makeup and cosmetics, and I was like, I'm a female. I know what we kind of look for. So let's create something that has very high quality that won't break their bank. And so I started Beauty with Jay Lee, and that's when it was skincare and cosmetics. And from there, it led to another and another. We went into the body care line. We went into the hair care line, and just kind of snowballed from there.
Was there any part of just kind of the law enforcement career where you felt that it was you saw a lot of ugly there?
In law enforcement?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole lot of ugly there.
Yeah.
There's absolutely a whole lot of ugly there. You, especially like people that you work with, it's just like some people, you know how they say like people abuse their power? People legitimately do that. There's been, lieutenants that have forced us to make wrongful arrests, and I've always been outspoken. So I'm always like, that's not protocol. That's not right. Like, why are we doing that? This person didn't even do anything wrong. And they're like, I don't care. You heard what I said. Arrest them. And I didn't. I was like, no. I was like, you're going to have another officer do it because I'm not doing it. And I didn't. And the guy, like the inmate was really like super grateful. And he really had like a one-on-one conversation with me and was like, you clearly saw that I didn't do nothing. And I said, listen, I get it. You're 100% right. I was like, but I don't have control over my superiors, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of have to follow along with their protocol to a degree. So yeah, there's a lot of ugly there. And do I agree with it? No, I do not. I'm
Yeah.
outspoken about that, and that's probably why I've gotten in trouble sometimes at work, but that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I'm asking is like, it's not an environment that is like, hey, like, look pretty for it.
No.
And now what you do is you make people beautiful.
Right.
And you lean into the self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that's super important because, I have friends in law enforcement. They don't really have the time to really commit to self-care.
No.
And a lot of it is A, because they have families, or B, because there's a lot of shit that goes down and they see. And when they come home, they're either A, trying to just forget it and spend time decompressing, and it's a very high stress environment. Not that saying that entrepreneurship isn't, but when it's your own, then it's like worth it in a sense, right?
Yeah, it's not as draining as law enforcement. It can be, but not to that degree.
Yeah.
Law enforcement will suck the soul out of you, and you'll be like, I have nothing else to give these people. Like, what else can I give you? Whereas when you're doing something for yourself, it's your baby. Like, you don't care if you lose sleep. You don't care if you have late nights, early mornings. It's worth it to you. You wake up and you're seeing your hard work come to fruition. So it's two different types of drain, really. And you just get burnt out, honestly, from, working for someone else. You just get totally burnt out.
Yeah.
And when you work for yourself, it's just like, wow, like this is stress-free. Like this is fine. Yeah, so what? I'm spending thousands of dollars on this, but who cares? Because it's the freedom of your time and you don't get that back.
For me, it was also really like, I have this time and I can commit it to someone else, but I'd rather have it for myself.
Right.
And it was to the point where I was beginning to resent the leadership in whatever respective job that I was doing, because they were asking all X, Y, and Z of me, but I really wanted to commit my time towards building something for me. I think leadership is really important. Obviously, like, watching the way your dad and your mom, led, and then obviously being law enforcement, you've been around all sorts of type of leaders, and now, being seen to, or I don't even know what, being considered as a lieutenant, obviously, that you have embodied leadership skills. What were some good examples of leadership and some bad examples of leadership? We can start with the good.
Were me, myself?
I would say, like, what are some good attributes for good leadership that you lean into, and maybe what power of examples did you have, through whichever career, that have made you want to emulate them?
So leadership overall, for me, you have to be selfless. Like, you cannot sit here and be selfish. It's not, I've seen people lead where it's like, do as I say because I'm in that position and you should just follow what I say. And then there's leaders that are like, I'm going to lead the way for you. Yeah. Follow me and we're going to go down this road together and I'm going to guide you. There's different roles of leadership, and I feel a lot of people mistake that with just trying to just delegate tasks or just like, be bossy. And I'm like, that's not leadership. That's poor leadership. Like I don't consider that leadership. you have to truly take your team and lead by example. You have to show them, I'm not asking you anything that I wouldn't do myself. You have to, if you go to war, I'm going to war with you. I'm in the front line. This is what we're going to do together as a team. So leadership, I feel I can't even really pinpoint it. It's just something that you either embody or you don't. You know, it's one of those where you have it or you just don't have it.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've been around a certain amount of leaders where they were like those type A, big personality type of leaders, but you love them. And one of the big things for me is I love the leaders who also are unafraid to just hurt feelings, frankly.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, like you're doing this wrong. Let me show you how to do it right. And I don't mean like being an asshole to me.
No, it's true.
But I'm saying it's like, don't be afraid to tell me the hard truths.
Correct.
Because I think there are a lot of leaders who know the hard truths. They keep it to themselves and they let it weigh on them. Mm-hmm. But if you share it with your team, you might find a solution within the team, or frankly, leaders who are okay with not knowing everything.
Right.
That's really important to me too, because I don't know. I love humility. I love humility when people like know their limits, know where they can improve, and know that they don't have all the answers. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important. And I've been around leaders like that. I've also been around terrible leaders.
Oh yeah.
Terrible leaders who are just arrogant, oftentimes in the corporate world, really just in it for the paycheck and the title. That shit pisses me off. Mm-hmm. What are some major red flags when it comes to leadership that you've either been around and knew that you wouldn't respond well to that type of leadership?
I would say the ones that think they know it all, instead of just, like you said, having that humility to say, you know what, I don't know, but I can find out. The ones who just take a title and just want to beat on their chest and say, this is who I am. I don't really do well with those types. I'm not good with the ones who are just like, just do it because I said to do it, or just do it because you have to and you're under me. And I don't like that. I don't do well with those. I do well with the ones that are more like, hey, let's figure this out together. If you don't know, maybe you can teach me something. Even me with my officers, like if I don't know something and they know something, I'm like, please enlighten me, teach me, let me learn from you. Yeah. It should be like a 50-50. I can teach and learn from you and vice versa. So that's the type of leadership I give to them. It's like I always tell them, if I ask them to do something and they hesitate and then they're like, okay, I'll do it. I'm like, no, I don't want you to give me that answer. I want you to tell me how you truly feel. If you do not want to do it, it's okay for you to tell me, you know what, Sarge, I don't really want to do this. And I'm like, you know what? Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. And we'll move on. Like, I'm not one of those that's like, what are you, crazy? That's an order. Go do it. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I respect everybody's individuality. And I give them a voice. I let them have their own voice. Like, you're still an individual. You're still human.
Yeah.
You may not be up to doing anything that I'm asking you to do. And that's okay. It's not the end of the world.
Do you have a specific moment, whether it was as an entrepreneur, leading your team, or, in your law enforcement ranks, where your leadership was tested and it was just that pause moment?
Probably as an entrepreneur, I would say more so, because you tend to want to build something that can have an impact on people. But then it's like there's so many obstacles that you might face that you might say, well, am I really doing the right thing by leading a team here? Like, should I not? Should I just take a different road? Like, you question yourself a little bit. And I wouldn't say so much as like self-doubt. I wouldn't say it's self-doubt. I would say it's more like fear of the unknown. That can sometimes test your leadership skills, because it's like, well, what if we go down this road, but it fails? Like, did I lead in a poor way? Like, what is that? So I would say, yeah, more so in the entrepreneurship world.
Yeah.
Yes, that's happened.
I mean, it's funny because I've had experiences. So one hard truth that I had to really come to terms with was that don't expect everyone to not believe, but to want your dream.
Right.
Like, people could support you left and right from all different angles, right? But at the end of the day, like, no one's going to work harder than you, and don't have the expectation for other people to like have that same level of commitment. And, that's something that was somewhat of a rude awakening. Like people can believe in you and love you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the people who love you the most where it's like, hey, like I thought you were, and it's like, yeah, dude, like you got this. You know what I mean?
Right,
It's like, all right, check, and like, but, in those moments at the end of the day, it was just like, hey, like I also need to be very careful with who I bring onto my team and who I decide to work with. And it's okay to say no. And it's okay to check someone that you love, and those are something that, I'm really leaning into this year, and as you enter like 2026, I know you got the opening in February. What are some lessons that you learned from last year that you're going to bring into, or better yet, lessons you learned from your flagship location that will make this Hartsdale location better, or not better, but like you won't repeat these mistakes.
Right. I will say a lot of it is having to use discernment, especially when you're working with other people. Like you said, a lot of times they don't take it serious. It's like, okay, well, this is her business. I'm not going to put 100% into it. I get that. I've had issues with people in the past where I try to teach them because maybe they're coming into this as a new person. And I'm like, okay, well, this is how you should do it. But like you said, not everybody wants to hear the hard facts. So when you try to let them know, well, this is not the approach you should be taking, but I can guide you to where you should be going, they're not very receptive to that. So I've learned that a lot of people want this really bad, but a lot of people also don't have what it takes. A lot of people are given this, I like to call it, they blow smoke up their ass and they tell them
The technical term is
right, you're gonna become a millionaire in like a year if you just stick to it, or you're gonna make so much money, like, and it's like, yeah, but they don't tell you this happens later down the line. This is not gonna happen in a year or even 2 years. You have to really work your ass off and spend a lot of money investing in yourself before it takes off. So when they come into this, and I've worked with people like this, they're thinking, oh yeah, I know it all. I know it. Don't tell me what to do. Or because maybe they're in a different title than I am. So I do aesthetics work, but I've had a lot of experiences working with nurses. And nurses feel like, well, I'm a nurse. You can't tell me anything. And I'm just like, okay, but I've been doing this for some time. I can actually kind of tell you what you're doing wrong. They don't want to hear it. So I've learned to keep my circle very small in this industry because a lot of people will try to leech off of you and kind of take what they can from you to then just like move out really fast and just move on. And I get it. Like everybody wants to get their own stuff going or whatever the case may be. But I've just learned to keep it really simple, really tight. Me and my partner, Jessica, she's amazing. Like she does the waxing, the permanent makeup stuff. She's been holding it down since day one. If I need her, she's dependable. She shows up, no questions asked. The girl is A1. And it's like, you know what? You and I, we're going to go far. Even if at some point she decides she wants to branch off, do her own thing, I can respect it because she has put in some really hard work. She has held it down when she needed to. So I keep telling myself now for Hartsdale, I've learned to keep my circle tight. And I still have to put in a bulk of the work. And I'm okay with that because, again, it's my baby. It's what I'm creating. So I have to expect to work hard.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. And I mean, I think it's true, though. I think there are folks who, it's almost like a W-2 mentality, right? Mm-hmm. You can't expect everyone to have that, like, big picture vision. That's our jobs as founders and creators. But it's also, like, knowing where you can plug people into the right places for them to be successful and for them to feel valued. And also not mouth off. Right.
Right.
At the end of the day, like that's hard. It's hard, like managing those different personalities. You alluded to your partner, and I'm always curious to explore different partnership dynamics because I have friends who have partners and they're like yin and yang, where one person is like the extrovert, boom in your face, fast thinker, while the other one's more the analytical, the systematic, boom, boom. And together they're actually awesome. But if you put them right in front of you, you'd be like, how the fuck are you guys friends? You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of people say that about me and Jessica.
Is it like that?
Yeah, they're like, oh, wow, you guys are so close. And it's like, yeah, because she can take constructive criticism and vice versa. You know, we're not legally partners, but she's my partner because she's my teammate. Like, we work together, you know? So I'm like, yeah, when I start to freak out and panic, she's there to say, no, you got this, breathe. And same with her. When she's in her head and she's going through that self-doubt moment, I'm like, no, stop, think about it. You're going good. Don't let this distract you. So we give each other really good balance. And that's what I love about her. She's great. She listens, you know, little things that I tell her, you know, you should kind of like tweak this, or maybe you should clean this up a little bit. She'll be like, you know what? Okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's try it. Not once has she ever felt offended. Not once was she like, oh, why are you trying to tell me what to do? Yeah. I've dealt with those people. You try to help them out, and they're like, don't tell me what to do. And I'm like, okay, I was just trying to help you out. But yeah, no, that dynamic works really well.
Yeah. Another thing you also talked about was having a small circle, and also, you know, I think you alluded to it, where it's like, hey, like, really connect with the people who are doing what you do. You said even in your respective industry, like, you have a small circle there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important. I'd love for you to talk about that, because I know there's a lot of people who just kind of ask everybody, hey, like, what do you think of this?
Right.
You know?
Right. So as far as like the small circle goes in the industry, I have my select few that they have their own businesses, different cities, maybe Garden City. I call one, she's like I call her my business bestie. She's awesome. We feed ideas off of each other. She's in Garden City. I'm in Westchester, whatever. But it's like having those people that you can bounce ideas off of. It's like, oh, great. What do you think about this? Or, you know, how is this doing in your area? Or if I need something, it's like, she's there. She'll be like, yeah, come get it. I got you. Don't worry. Same goes for me. But then there's people that it's like very catty in this industry. It's like some people just look at you. They just want to compete, and they have that competition mindset. I don't have that mindset. It's like, I don't really, if there's 5 med spas around me, that's great. None of you are going to do what I do it or how I do it. So that's how I run my business. I don't sit here and worry about what you're doing. What if this person makes more money? I don't care. I really don't care. Some people say the grass is greener on the other side, right?
Yeah.
I always say the grass is greener wherever I am, because I know what I bring to the table. I know what I'm going to do. So I've never worried about anything. My business besties, we're good. Like, I don't compete with them. They don't compete with me. We're just like, how can we come up with ideas with one another and, you know, bring that forth with our clients?
Yeah. You know, I love that. And, you know, like, I had a friend, and I always reference him when I talk to entrepreneurs, John Mendez, when he came onto this podcast, he was like, entrepreneurship is the greatest personal development journey you'll ever go on.
Very much so.
And I'd love for you to talk about what entrepreneurship has taught you about yourself.
Patience.
Damn.
It's taught me a lot of patience. I can honestly say I was someone who, and probably still to a degree, I'm the type of person that, like, if I want something done, it has to get done like yesterday.
I'm like that too.
But realistically, this has taught me to slow down sometimes. Sometimes you have to slow down. Sometimes you have to take a seat. You have to look at the overall picture, analyze what you need to analyze, and then start again. Most of the time, I wouldn't do that. Most of the time, it was just like, nope, boom, 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 boom. Let's go. I'm ready. And this has really taught me to just slow down. Slow down, appreciate what's in front of you, build it and build it well, and just have patience with it. Love it, nurture it, and it'll thank you later.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Quick break to shout out our sponsor, Relive the Moments. Founded by John Lim, they're redefining how we share memories. From tap-to-play photo frames to interactive coasters, they turn ordinary objects into powerful, shareable experiences. Perfect for weddings, events, or milestone moments. Relive, reconnect, reimagine. Check them out at www.relivethemoments.com. Now back to the show. So one thing I didn't know about you is that you were a coach, a life and transformational coach.
That too.
Tell me about that. Are you still actively coaching?
So I'm not actively coaching anymore. I stopped last year. I want to say early last year. I stopped. It was becoming a lot. when you're, I've got a lot going on. And so I thought that I could actually do this. And I'm like, oh, this might actually work. I'll make some time for it. And then it was just conflicting with my schedules. And then, seeing my clients in Eastchester was just becoming more and more. And I was like, I really don't have time to do any more coaching. I've literally had to turn people away for it. I'm just like, yeah, I can't do it. But it was nice while I did it, You kind of help people change their mindset, look at things differently, start to discipline themselves. Because I think that's the biggest issue we have as humans is that we lack discipline. So it was more so like I like to teach a lot of like mindset shifts and discipline to people because I feel like once you master that, you can do so much more. Most of the time, like even the little things, right? We want to go to the gym. We say, oh, I'm going, but we don't go. Why? Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. It's what you do with it. So you can't look at the next person and look at them like they're bragging. They chose to get up and go to the gym. Yeah. It's a choice that you make, but you have to be disciplined. Yes, it's cold outside. Yes, your body's going to hurt. Yes, it's not fun. There's nothing fun about the gym. But if you want to live longer, you want to help yourself with your health, then you make that conscious decision and you tweak your mindset and you say, you know what, this is for my health. This is for me to live longer now. It's no longer to just look great. That's a plus, but I want to be healthy. So let me get up and do what I have to do. Otherwise, what are you going to do? So I always tell people it's just your mindset. It's that discipline that you have to really like lock into.
Coming from a household with a military father, was discipline always something that just was laid out?
So my dad was mush when it came to me.
You have siblings?
No.
Oh.
No siblings. My dad was just like the silly putty in my hands, right? And my mom was the disciplinarian. And she was like, you would think this woman was a freaking colonel in the military. It's like, can you relax, woman? So she still is like that, actually. But yeah, it was very structured with her. It was like, okay, you're going to go to school, come home, you're going to do your homework, you're going to eat, you're going to take a shower. Everything was like on a structure with her. Then the weekends, you already knew. You hear the Spanish music playing, get your ass up, clean your room, let's get started. And that's kind of the structure that I had. So I'm actually grateful now, as an adult that she did these things because it created structure in my life. So now I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do when I get home. Yeah. This is what my day looks like. But she created that for me. So, of course, when you're a teenager, you hate it. You're like, oh, my God, you're the worst person in the world. But as an adult, you learn to appreciate those things.
Yeah. When working with your clients and you can immediately identify that they lack discipline, what are some daily habits that you advise them to incorporate into their day-to-day to get onto a more disciplined path?
So I kind of explained to them, I have this analysis machine that goes more in depth than just like skin. It also tells you like the foods that you're eating, your habits as far as smoking, drinking, anything like that. I'll put them on it and I'm like, this is what you will look like in 10 years if you don't stop XYZ. Now, granted, you don't have to listen to me, right? But you're paying me money to do a service. I cut out for them. I start very basic because when you don't have a routine or you're not disciplined, you can get overwhelmed if something is too much for you. So if I tell them a whole regimen, they're going to be like, oh, my God, this is a lot. Like, I can't do this. So I take baby steps with them. I'm like, okay, we're going to start with the basics. Cleanser, moisturizer, SPF. Can't go wrong right there. So they're like, okay, I think I can do that. I'm like, okay, we're getting somewhere. So I start to follow up. So throughout the week, I'll be like, so how's it going? And they'll be like, oh, it's going great. I've been doing it. Or they'll tell me the truth. They'll be like, yeah, it kind of sucks. I haven't been doing it. And I'm like, come on, you got to do this. Otherwise, you saw how bad your skin was. You don't want that. They're like, no, I don't. Okay, so come on. So I give them the little push every now and again, but then they pick up this routine. Now it becomes a routine. What do they say? It takes like 30 days to form a habit. As long as we get them in there, they're going to start picking up that flow. Then they come back and they see the results and they're like, I love it. Oh my God, what else can I add? Then we can go a little step further. So I always start with the little baby steps for them.
Yeah, I love that. And, also it's like for me, like certain things that I'm trying to, adopt as new habits, also making them as easy as possible.
Right.
Like if I want to eat a healthy breakfast every morning, make sure like, the pan's on the stove, the spray is next to it. You know what I mean? Like just make it as easy.
Whatever's just going to remind you and click for you. and you're going to be like, oh, you're going to feel kind of guilty. You're going to be like, well, damn, all right, this is already out. I might as well just do it.
No.
So if you don't see it, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Do you have like a bona fide morning routine?
So I try to. I try to. What my morning kind of consists of will be that I get up, I make my protein shake, I go to the gym, I get ready at the gym, I shower there, everything. Then I go to my 9 to 5.
What time do you wake up?
I try to wake up at about 5:30.
Yeah.
So 5:30, I know I don't just hop out the bed like that. So whatever time I need to be out the bed, I set the alarm for 30 minutes before.
Yeah.
Because at that point, that'll give me time to just mentally process my day.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, all right, let's get started. So I'll get up and I'll start getting ready. At the gym, I do an hour workout. I'll get ready. I'll shower there, get ready to go to White Plains City Court. From there, I go to work. That's my day. After that, I go to Eastchester. I go see my clients for the evening. But my schedule kind of fluctuates a little bit with the courts. So I'm able to, if I need days off, I take my days off. If I'm seeing clients in the mornings or whatever, I'm able to just kind of work around my schedule. Weekends are just packed in Eastchester. Like I'm there from like morning to evening, just nonstop. I don't work Sundays though. So I give myself one day of rest at least. And if I have to work a Sunday, then I won't work Saturday. Because I've learned you cannot burn yourself out. You have to give yourself time for rest. So that's kind of what it looks like. Now, when you factor in Hartsdale that's coming along, my days my days and nights look a little longer than what they normally would. But I know that's temporary. Once this is all done and set in stone, I'll go back to my regular routine where I'll actually get home at a decent time and be able to rinse and repeat kind of thing.
Yeah. Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, listen, that's awesome. I mean, I don't know. Like, when I met you, like, I was just like very fascinated by you. I was like, she's doing a lot. She's killing it. She has a really good attitude.
Thank you.
And I think that's really, really important. And let's talk about mindset and attitude when it comes to just growth in general. What do you think? Like if I was a coaching client of yours and I had a piss poor attitude and piss poor mindset, and a lot of that's really rooted in just kind of self-esteem and all those self-confidence, you've let yourself down, you feel beaten up. Where would you start with that?
I would try to find out what your upbringing was like, what your relationship with your parents is. A lot of times I feel like it stems from that. A lot of times, if your parents sit here and they're constantly just bashing you for everything that you've ever did wrong, but they don't really acknowledge anything that you've done right, you're going to be 10 times harder on yourself growing up, getting older. You're going to have this outlook on the world like, this is a shitty world. I hate it. Like, it all goes back to where you were raised, how you were raised, and what morals they instilled in you, I feel. So you're a reflection of your parents. And the same goes, I've even, in my coaching, I've even told people your eating habits are really your parents' eating habits. So when they claim that most of your health comes from your parents, oh, it's genetic. It's really not genetic. It's just the fact that you carried on the same recipes and you're eating the same things that they were eating. So you think it's genetic. It's not. Just change your recipe, change your stuff. So I think a lot of it comes from your parents, your upbringing. That's going to set your attitude for the world. That's going to see how you view yourself. If your parent was constantly calling you stupid and dumb, and you're going to end up believing that at some point. You're going to say, well, my mom thinks I'm dumb anyway. She thinks I'm stupid. Maybe I'll drop out of school. Maybe this. Maybe I'll start robbing stores. Maybe I'll start, you're looking for that validation in something else. So I try to find out what happened to you that made you this way. Why is it that you see through your lens the way you see it? Help me understand that, because then I can kind of gauge where I can work with you.
Yeah, no, like I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
When I think a lot of folks, and I've seen it, where when you really dig in, it's like, okay, like this is what your household was like when you grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was angry. People didn't talk. People didn't share how they felt. Love wasn't in the air. And that's why you're in so much pain, or that's why you're so scared, and that's why you don't feel like you can really tackle this next hurdle or take this next big step or even let go of something.
Mm-hmm.
What? I mean, your parents sound wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
But like, was there anything that you had to look inside of yourself, right, and say, hey, this is a bad habit that I'm adopting from way back in the day? And what was it? And what was that process like for you?
So I will say growing up, I mean, what couple doesn't argue, right? My parents argued a lot. And that I remember. And I was just like, oh my God. Like sometimes it was to the point where I woke up out of my sleep and I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're fighting again? So I'm like, can you guys just divorce already, please? So I noticed and I started realizing in my relationships that I was becoming them. And I'm like, why am I like carrying on trust issues? Why am I carrying on like this argumentative like behavior? And then I had to check myself and say, you're becoming them. Is that something you really want to do? So once you learn and you acknowledge what you're carrying over, you can make those changes and say, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my energy. And it was something that was very draining, I've got to say. Now I just have this carefree attitude that I'm like, listen, you know, I hear how some of the girls or the guys, they're like, I don't trust my girl, my husband, or I still go through their phone. I need to have their passcode. I'm like, why? I'm like, I'm not checking anything. If I have to do that, you're not a grown person. I feel like you're a kid. And I don't want to feel like I'm with a kid. So it's like, if I feel like I have to monitor you, then maybe I shouldn't be with you. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know why people just carry on those things. But once you acknowledge it and you start to change it, I'm telling you, life gets so much better.
Yeah, I also, I have friends who are like that, where it's like, I mean, I get the location sharing thing. I do.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
get
safety.
that. Yeah.
But I feel like if you feel that you need to do that, A, it's your own insecurity.
Yes.
And B, you don't trust this person.
No.
And if you don't trust this person, then what are you doing to begin with?
Exactly.
And, for me, like, I lived in a very traditional household. My dad is an Indian immigrant. My mom was a Persian immigrant, right?
Nice.
And, like, my dad was very just, like, stereotypical disciplinarian, bread earner, worked 9 to 5, traveled for work. My mom was the caretaker at home. She worked, but, she by no means was the bread earner. And I watched that kind of submissiveness in the house where, it did have some impact on some of my relationships. And then it's like, all right. And then when you find someone who isn't like that, it's kind of like, oh, okay, shit. But, for me, like, I had to do like a lot of work really unpacking a lot of that with like, hey, like, was my house normal?
Right.
And I think one of the things I've learned from having these conversations and meeting so many people and having, asking these questions is that, like, no family is really normal. There is no such thing as a normal family. Even the most normal families, like, they're just better at appearing normal.
Correct.
And when you peel back, the beautiful cover and you read, a couple chapters, like, every family has their bullshit. Every family has their pain. Every family has their lies, and every family has their secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really about, hey, am I going to carry these secrets throughout the rest of my life and to my children and to their children and these mannerisms and these behaviors? So for me, like, there was a lot of pattern breaking, and and I, obviously there's always work to do in that scope. But every time I have a quote unquote breakthrough or really am able to uninstall a button that was, previously installed, it's so freeing.
Yeah.
Because you're becoming your own person, and you don't have to conform to your environment, which is really important. You probably have a lot of these types of deep ass conversations with your clients.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
And it's funny because I think, like, your scope of life experience, like, obviously working life in law enforcement and then working as a coach and understanding these things, that's so cool because I know my barber, like, I tell him everything.
Oh yeah, it's like a therapy session.
I tell him everything. And recently, like, I had a barber who I've been going to for 15 years, and he ended up passing away. And I was
wow.
thinking about our relationship where, man, he saw me during so many different seasons of life, really good seasons, really ugly seasons when I was when I was actively drinking and using, I'd be sitting in his chair all fucking coked out, and drunk and whatnot. And then he saw me on this recovery path where it was he was genuinely proud of me and happy with what I was doing. And talk about that, the relationship that you have with your clients.
My clients are amazing, first and foremost. It's they always feel welcomed. It's we've known each other forever. They're like family at this point. We laugh, we joke. I've cried with them. They tell me everything, literally. It's I'm their diary.
Yeah.
They'll tell me their darkest secrets. They'll tell me their biggest insecurity. They'll tell me about their upbringing. They'll tell me about everything. And it's wow, the fact that they trust me with that information, the fact that they look to me as a safe space, I greatly appreciate that because it's hard to find people like that. So the fact that they can do that with me is, I don't take that for granted at all. And I truly appreciate their bravery for even doing that. Because we know what it's like to come across people and you don't really want to open up to strangers. Technically, when they first meet me, I am a stranger, right? You're paying me for a service. You don't know me, but you trust me enough. And they always tell me, you make this feel like home. I walk in here and it's so peaceful, so zen. I feel just peace over me. And that's the environment I want to create for my clients because they do that for me too. I'm in my happy place. I want them to be in their happy place.
Yeah.
So we have a great relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool when people are just comfortable being vulnerable with you. At the end of the day, I feel I'm pretty good at that, honestly, where people do feel comfortable. But I think it's because I usually lead with my own vulnerability.
Right.
Where it's hey, I can understand why you're angry. I can understand why you're scared. I can understand why you're sad. And this is a moment in my life when that happened. And this is what I did in order to get out of that. But, I've worked in service industries. I was a bartender for years and kind of similar, is there because I think in the beauty field, you also are, you probably do have a lot of clients who do feel really insecure and who are going through, who might be going through a divorce and they feel it's because of how they look or all sorts of things, a bad breakup, something in their life that drew them to say, hey, I need to take care of myself more. So, all encompassing self-care, I think, is so important when it comes to loving yourself again and building back that self-confidence, that self-esteem. That's a tremendous role that you have in these people's lives. What is it? I guess let's just talk about that in general. What does that mean to you? And it is somewhat of a responsibility.
It's a responsibility, but it's also for me, I'm aligned with what I need to be doing. I'm helping people. But like I said, helping people in a different way from being in law enforcement. It's when you get the text messages, and I just recently got a text message from one of my clients. She was I haven't felt this beautiful in so long, and thank you for helping me love myself again. And I was just wow, you really don't know what people are going through. It takes nothing for you to really just put your time and energy into this person. When each client steps into my room, it's okay, it's all about you right now. It's not about any other client. It's not about me. It's about you. What are you coming here for? Whether it's the peace, whether it's you want to vent about your day, or, you want to learn to love yourself again. I give them words of confidence. I give them words of encouragement. I'm see yourself how I see you. You're a beautiful person inside and out. And the things that you're complaining to me about, I can take care of. I can help you with that. And you'll see. But I need you to be consistent and I need you to be locked in if this is what you truly want. And that's how I kind of get a feel. Are you serious, or are you just looking for an outlet, or you're just you're not sure? All of my clients have been 1,000% locked in, and they see their changes and they're wow, I'm able to put this dress on again, or I'm able to look at myself in the mirror. I wouldn't look at myself in reflections and mirrors, but now I love looking at myself. Thank you. Those things right there are the reasons why I went into this, because I wanted to help people feel their best again. And once once you hear that, it's like, wow, this is so satisfying. Like, I'm truly where I need to be.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about alignment, and just talk about alignment in general. Like how important is it to live in alignment, and what are indicators to you that like this, it doesn't align, and when you know something aligns, just like talk about alignment in general. I don't even know what fucking I'm going with it. I can't formulate a question. Like alignment is important, and yeah, let's talk about alignment, because I think like there's a lot of folks not living in alignment.
No.
And I think there's been moments with me, but frankly, last year for me, like there was a lot of things that I took on that really didn't align. And while I was doing it, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel right.
And you said the key word. That's how you know. You feel it, right? So alignment, you feel when something is for you. You feel like, wow, this just happened to me. It's for a reason. It feels right. It could feel a little scary too sometimes, but it feels right. It feels like, okay, I need to act on that. When it's not for you, you feel that too. You're like, this doesn't feel right. I don't know that I should be doing it. And even if people around you are telling you, yeah, do it. It's for you. I'm telling you, you still know in your heart, like, this is not for me. I always tell people, go with your gut. Listen to how you feel. Like, your intuition is everything. It's not going to lead you astray. If something doesn't feel right to me, I don't do it. I'm just like, yeah, sorry, no. I have no problem saying no. I'm not here to be a people pleaser either. So it's like, that's easy for me. I could just be like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Like, no. Yeah. But when it feels right, yes, it feels a little scary. But I always say, like, people always like, oh, well, how'd you do it? And honestly, I tell them, I have no idea. I'll be honest. I'm just like, it presented itself. It felt right. I went with it. And I always give the credit to God, honestly, because you know how people say walk by faith, not by sight? Literally, if I walked by sight, I wouldn't be here. I literally put all my faith in that man, and I was just like, okay, if you're bringing it to me, let's do it. Yeah. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, I'm amazed at sometimes how I made things happen. I'm like, what? Like, how did I even do this? And then it happened so fast. I went from originally having a partnership in Long Island with someone for the first time when we opened the beauty and wellness industry, and that didn't work out too well. And I was just like, yeah. And I kind of like started questioning, like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And then it was actually my husband who had said to me, how could you even say that? Like, you're so passionate about this. It's not that you don't like it anymore. It's just that this portion of it is no longer for you. It's time for you to move on. And I was like, are you sure? I don't know. Maybe I just want to walk away from it completely. He was like, no, do not do that. So I didn't. And I brought it out here to Westchester, where I was just like, you know what? Let me start in Westchester. I live in Westchester. No reason for me to be in Long Island with it. Let me see how it goes. And I started off very small in a suite, one of those salon suites. And I was like, well, let me build my Westchester clientele. But luckily for me, I still had my Long Island clients traveling to Westchester to see me. So then from there, I said, okay, I need a bigger space. Literally, it landed in my lap. I went to Eastchester, got Eastchester. I was like, wow, okay, great. This is perfect. Literally, I'm sitting at home one day. I'll look for a storefront. Landed in my lap. I was like, what? Wait a minute.
That's cool.
Do I have a genie? Like, what's happening? And it was just, whenever I put my mind to it, it just happens. And it shows up to me. And I'm like, okay, I guess this is where we're going to go next. And I have followed that through and through, and it has not led me wrong. And I'm like, yeah, there's only one person who could be doing that. That's God. So I go with the flow. I'm like, if you put it in my head, it's for a reason. Let's carry it out.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, because trusting your gut is important. And I think a lot of people question their gut, and a lot of people have ignored their gut and gone with what other people say or what like pays off right away. You know, I think, I don't even know what book I was reading. I think it was like Atomic Habits. And he was saying like the things that, the things that feel bad initially pay off the most long-term, and the things that feel good immediately usually have negative results long-term. And, that's so So true. I want to talk about purpose, obviously. So what does the word purpose mean to you?
It means living in my truth, living in what I'm supposed to be doing, leaving an impact. Just, who am I exactly? I think when you know who you are, you find your purpose. A lot of people are trying to live out, like you said, other people's dreams. Or, even our parents, they've been guilty of trying to make us live their dreams. And it's like, okay, yeah, I could do that, but I'm my own person. That's not for me. That's not what I want. And I feel most of the time we don't want to disappoint our parents. So we tend to go down the road of, okay, well, mom and dad said to do this. I guess I'll give it a try and I'll see it through just because that's what my parents wanted me to do. But that's never been me. I'm just like, okay, great. My mom wanted me to be a judge. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. No. So she'd be like, why not? You'd be great. No, Ma, I'm not doing that. So, I just went on my own path. I'm like, I hear you. I understand. You want me to just build a good life. I'm going to do that, but just not the way you want me to do it. I'm going to do it my way and what feels right to me. And for me, it's just helping other people, being exactly who I am, living in my own truth, being authentic. What you see is what you get. And, creating something that can leave an impact on other people's lives. And that's what I want to do.
No judge, Jamie.
No judge, Jamie.
All right, no doubt. All right. What advice would you give to somebody on that journey of finding purpose?
Figure out who you are, first and foremost. Shut out the world, sit with yourself. And sometimes it's hard to sit with yourself, especially if you have a lot of demons that you're facing and you don't want to sit with them. Guess what? You have to sit with them. And you have to face them. And whether you like it or not, it's either going to break you down or it's going to build you up. And you're going to learn from that, but you're going to learn who you are first and foremost. And from there, you'll figure out what you want to do with your life. Where do you see yourself? What is your purpose? What brings you, satisfaction? What brings you happiness? What calls to you? Not something that other people tell you to do, but you yourself. You have to learn your likes, your dislikes. Are you a people pleaser? Are you not? And sometimes developing means losing people. And that's okay. Because I firmly believe that people in your life, sometimes I always say they come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And it's okay if it's just a reason. Take what you had to learn from it, apply it, and move on. And if it's for a season, it was to help you get somewhere. Or maybe they needed you in their life to learn something from and develop. And then your time with them is over. It's gone. And that's okay. Accept that. Move on. Let's not dwell on what was. Let's dwell on what's going on.
Love it. Love it. Jamie, thank you.
Thank
you. You are probably the nicest nails, best makeup, that I've had on the podcast.
Thank you.
So super grateful for you to come on. If you can you please speak to my audience? That's
Sure.
your camera, and just tell them, obviously let's pump the February opening. This should come out. And what you got coming up next, how they can reach you, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, absolutely. So we are located in Eastchester. It's Jaylee's Beauty Lounge. We have 2 locations. Second location will be opening up, I want to say February. So our grand opening will be February 14th. It'll be in Hartsdale.
Valentine's Day.
On North Central Avenue. I'm going with the whole thing of there's a new love coming to Hartsdale. So it's February 14th. And if anybody needs me, of course, my website is jayleesbeautylounge.com. All of the contact info is on there. My phone number, email. I do collaborations. I'm looking for possible vendors for the 14th, for little treats and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how they can reach me. They can go on my website, jayleesbeautylounge.com, or my Instagram if they follow me.
Well, definitely follow her. Jamie Lee Zeno, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And I just appreciate this conversation. And
likewise.
I appreciate you very much. So
thank you.
Thank you. Folks, I do want to shout out a couple other folks who have really been a big part of this team here. First off, Kai Visions here, Claudio, Justin, the whole team. If you are looking to get any content on marketing, whatever, you want to launch your own podcast, feel free to reach out to me directly, and I would be happy to connect you with Claudio. Additionally, I want to thank John Lim here at Relive the Moments. They have amazing different tap technology that you can incorporate into events. You can use them for marketing material. If you're a realtor, they're great to incorporate into open houses. Relive the moments. Thank you to my sponsor. Feel free to reach out and connect, and I can connect you directly with them as well. Last but not least, I'd really love for you guys to show some love for this episode. Follow on YouTube and visit www.adamvora.com. I am really excited that I've rolled out my coaching program, and I'd love to connect with any and all of you. So follow me also at AdamVora_. And till next time, folks.